No scripts, just vibes, baby.
What
Ah,
else new? You okay over there?
I'm fine.
The last podcast episode of 2023
Cheers, bitch. We made it.
is kind of fucking insane. Um,
Yeah, for everyone listening, we will be taking a vacation.
we do need a little vacation. We do need a little
We're
break.
on
Just like we hope all of you will take some time to disconnect this holiday season, spend time with your loved ones, just reconnect with yourself. I think we all need it. I am desperate for some time to just like chill and hang out.
desperate.
Today I think today we're just going to talk about our Vegas
Yeah,
experience
we are.
because we never really
We didn't. We didn't have a
dove.
chance, really.
Yeah, we were just so booked and busy in the studio. We didn't have time to kind of talk about things there, and then
As it goes
just
with all of these trips for us, we just like have too much going on and like don't ever have a chance to just like discuss it. Yes. Meanwhile, by the way, there's been so many things that have happened, and I'm like someone will say something to me, and I'm like, I don't. When did that happen? Like, did I know about this? And like, yeah, we talked about it. And then they're like, and it's every single thing has happened while we were in Vegas, or like the 2 days after. And I was like, actually, I was not here. Physically, I was here. Mentally, I was nowhere. I was in the
checked out.
fucking void. I was in purgatory for those few days. Like, don't ask me anything that happened then because I don't know.
Not a single clue.
Couldn't tell you. Gun to my head,
Not conscious. You're like, I'm so sorry I gave you the illusion of being present in your life, but I
but I was
wasn't.
not.
I think honestly,
I'm like,
let's
how
just
do we even sum this trip up?
I think we just kind of start from the beginning. I think this was such a we talked about this prior to going to Vegas, but this was such a manifested trip for us.
Yeah.
And I think we
There's
really
like no way this is anything but a full manifestation moment for us.
we just got to start from the beginning. And by the beginning, I mean like
The announcement of Vegas.
October 15th, maybe, when we get an email from Kara at Alfa Romeo and or like she's like, "Hey, are you guys going to be in Austin?" And we're like, "No, unfortunately, we won't be. It's Kate's wedding." Uh and then she's like, "Bummer, was going to offer you guys hot laps in Austin." And we were like, "Shit."
Bummer.
Bummer, but no. And then we get an email like 2 days later, and she's like, "All right, well, are you interested in joining us in
Or like,
Vegas?"
no, she was like, "Are you going to Vegas? Like, will you be in Vegas?" And we were like, "Not at the moment."
Not at
Never
the present
say,
moment.
as Justin Bieber has said, never say never. Your girls are down to go for the right opportunity.
If the opportunity were to arise,
She's
we'll
like,
be
"We can't
there.
pay for you to go," and we're like, "That's okay. We'll pay for it." Like, we're like, the girls are going.
That's why we own a business because it's a write-off. And so, Kate, I'm on a hot girl walk. I'm on a hot girl walk with my friend Sam,
Oh my
and
god.
Kate is like desperately trying to call me. And like I look at my phone like I'm walking up the last block to the apartment and
Meanwhile, I'm calling Nicole. I'm calling her. I'm texting her. I'm saying, "Pick up your phone. Are you awake?" It's 8:30. So I'm like,
it's early.
either Nicole is like, I'm like, she's usually on a hot girl walk, but she'll usually, answer me. So I was like, sometimes she sleeps late. So like, Nicole's asleep. I'm calling, I'm texting. I'm like, wake the fuck up, bitch. Wake up now. Call me now. Like, someone could be dead. Nicole's not answering.
Well,
I'm
well, I
I call
literally
Carly, Nicole's a roommate, and I'm like, and she's like, hello, and I'm like, is Nicole awake? And she's like, it was hardly. I think she was not even home. She's like,
no, she had like just woken up. She
oh
was
yeah.
getting ready to go to
She's
work.
like, I'm getting ready to work. She's like, yeah, she's up. She's like on a hot girl walk with Sam, and I was like, I have to speak with her immediately. I have to talk to her, and she will not answer me. And she's like, okay, I'll call Sam. So Carly is then texting Sam to be like, tell Nicole to call Kate. Like it was giving in Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire when Hermione's going up to Harry and she's like, Ron was told, or I was told by Parvati, who was told by Seamus, who was told by Dean, that Ron says that Hagrid's looking for you. Like, that's literally the chain of, like, Sam's like, I was told by Carly, that was told by Kate, that Kate is trying to talk to you. Nicole, please answer your phone.
It's literally, Sam was like, Carly says to check your phone. And so then I like pull up my phone and it's like 6 missed calls from Kate. And I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, what
It's
happened?
8:30
I like
a.m.
call her. It's
on like a Wednesday.
expecting the worst because I'm like, someone's dead. Something bad has happened. And she just picks up the phone. She goes, we're going to Vegas, bitch. And I was like, oh my God. I literally almost had a heart attack because I thought something seriously bad had
And it
happened.
was, in fact, something seriously good. I just remember getting that email and just screeching. I'm on my drive home from yoga. I get it in the parking lot of yoga, which is 25 minutes away from my house. And I see this email. The entire drive home, I am attempting to contact Nicole.
Kate's been trying to contact me about my car's extended warranty.
I'm literally in my car, just like driving. I'm just like, call again, call again, call again, call again over my like car's audio system. Wow, what a day that was.
That was so funny. And like, I just remember being like, all right, well, we're like 3.5 weeks out. Like,
This is like right
we,
before my wedding, right?
yeah, yeah.
So
It
I'm
was like
also
2 weeks.
mental state iffy on my end. Iffy.
Between the two of us, we barely had the mental capacity to plan a trip. But we were like, fuck it, we ball. We're doing
Like
it.
it, we bought. I'm calling Brittany. It's like 5 a.m. her time. I'm like, someone needs to answer me. I like need to talk to
Someone better pick up
someone.
the phone. So we like scramble to like book flights, and it's funny because we hop on the call with Kara and Alfa Romeo later that day, or
Yeah, it
like
was literally
in
that
a
day.
couple days later, and they tell us about the mullet activation, and they're like, we're doing this mullet activation, and we'd love
Craziest
for
shit
you guys
I've ever heard.
we want you guys to be a part of it if you're around. And Kate was like, shit, I can't be there on Wednesday because I have a work event in LA.
Well, the craziest
And
part was also that they said, "Will one of you get a mullet?"
oh yeah.
And we said, "No."
No.
Thank you, but no. And if this trip rides on one of us getting a mullet, to be honest, it's a no.
It's a no. And Kate goes, well, my fiance, soon to be husband, will get a mullet. We'll force him to get a mullet.
It's funny because like I'm on this call and like Nick and I work from home in our tiny, tiny little cottage together. So he knows I'm on this call, and I'm like, it's Alfa Romeo. They're asking us to go to Vegas with them. Like, I don't really know, whatever. So he's obviously like at the door listening. And I'm like, I definitely am not gonna get a mullet, but and Nick's texting me, I'll do it. I'll do anything. I'll do anything. Tell them I'll do it. And so I was like, but I do have a fiance, and I think maybe he would do it. And Nick's like, I'm in. Whatever they say, I'm in. Like, it's just like texting me through the door, which I'm dying about. And they were like, okay, perfect. Yes, exactly. 100% we're in. We're good. That's perfect. And so then Nick is the first thing locked in. Nick is like the only reason we're going to Vegas at this point.
Well, truly, truly. So we're like, all right, fuck it, we ball. We're booking flights. Kate has her flight booked to LA. I'm like, well, we can get an Uber expensed through your job if we all go to the I'll go to the airport together. So we'll plan our flights according to your schedule, and that's called being CFO, financially responsible.
Yes.
And so I'm like, all right, well, Nick and I will be in Vegas for mullet
Well, like
cutting,
Nick
but
and I will
Kate
be
will
there
not.
whenever. Also, the other problem is we also had been invited to the
Mm,
golf
the golf,
Netflix live
yeah.
sports whatever thing on Tuesday. But we were going to the 1975 on Tuesday in New York, which is like why this was all really working out was because we were going to be in New York for that, and then I was flying to LA the next day from New York. So like it was all really working out, and I was going to fly home from LA on Sunday anyways. So we were like, we could like realistically make this work.
Yeah.
But when we got invited to the Netflix Cup or whatever, and we were like, not gonna lie, we won't be missing the 1975 because if there's one thing about us, we're not missing that show.
No,
There's no
especially we talked about this earlier, but, like, especially with the rumors or not even the rumors that Maddie has said that they're going on a hiatus afterwards, and while I think it's generally just, like, a break because they've been touring nonstop
yeah,
for, like,
because it's a
at least a
touring
year and a half.
hiatus.
Yeah, but, you that is triggering.
And
That
we got
PTSD.
as One Direction girlies, a triggering statement.
You can't just
One
throw that word out
Direction,
there like
Little Mix, Fall Out Boy.
that. Mhm.
I mean, Fall Out Boy, they stuck to their word. They did come back, so we love them for that. But like, I know what I know when I hear the word hiatus, and it's a breakup. And I was like, we're not missing it. And we also have general admission floor at Madison Square Garden, and I've never been to a show there before, so we're going.
Yeah. And we saw Charlie XCX and apparently Emrata. I was not clued in the Emrata
Which is
situation, but
so crazy, dude,
allegedly
because she
everyone
was
else
the
in the
one
group saw her.
standing next to us for like 20 minutes.
I didn't know.
She's literally the only reason that I knew that Charlie XCX was there. Like, she was there, and I was like, that's Emrata. Like, 10 times I looked at you, Carly, and Nick, and I said, that's Emrata. Emrata's right there. Look at her. She's just standing there. And then next to her is Charlie XCX, and I was like, oh, Charlie XCX is here too. Like,
No, because
so funny.
We saw Charlie walk by.
Yeah,
That's
well,
how I knew
it
she
was
was
because Emrata was standing there at, like, the entrance,
there. Mhm.
and she was staying there for, like, 10 minutes until Charlie walked up to join her, and then they walked in
Mm,
together.
mm.
So it was like them two and then Gabriette, Maddie's girlfriend. Hysterical that you didn't
Was
see her.
not.
Like, she was literally the
Nope.
one there for the longest time.
Nope. That's just how oblivious I am. I'm like, "Oh, I live in New York now. I don't
She's
acknowledge
like a celebrity,
celebrities."
whatever.
Whatever. She's out here with the plebeians. So yeah, we were not missing that, even though we would have loved to go to the
Yeah.
Netflix classic. It looked like a really fun time. I truly, honestly haven't even watched anything
I
from it.
tried to. Too chaotic for me. Like, on TV, I was like, this is stressing me out. Like, it was stressful.
So maybe next year they'll have it more together and we
Yeah.
can go,
I was like,
and
oh my god,
hopefully do
what's
some
going on?
commentating. Would love to be in the box and do some commentating
But yeah,
for
of
that.
course.
Let us know. We'll make sure that we're available for that. There will be no concerts, no weddings. We'll make it happen.
We'll make it happen.
So Tuesday night, we're at 1975. 6 hours later, we're on the way to the airport. We have 7 a.m. flights. We got to be up and at 'em.
And in
Um,
classic us going to a Grand Prix weekend, we had the craziest Uber ride. All we ever do when we're together is have the weirdest Uber rides. We're in this car. It's 5 a.m. This man picks us up. We're on our way to the airport. We're all dead. We've been up late. We're just looking forward to like chilling and not really talking for a while. No thanks. He
our
had a
Uber driver
different
had
idea.
different
He
ideas.
said, we're going to chat. And he's like, where are you guys going? We're like, we're going to Vegas. And he was like, oh, are you going to shoot machine guns into the Grand Canyon?
We're like,
Sorry,
"Sir, no."
what? Come again? And he's like, oh yeah, it's like the big thing to do. He's like, I once
He's
went
like,
on a trip.
"It's a heli
Yeah,
You shoot machine guns out of a
into
helicopter
the
into the
Grand
Grand
Canyon.
Canyon."
We were like, no, that's not what we're going to do. That's not like, what? How is that the first thing out of your mouth?
We're like, "Is that even legal? Like, that's something that you
Like,
can
people
legally do.
hiking
That seems
there.
fake, sir."
There's like donkeys that are giving people rides around the Grand Canyon. Like, where are you? What do you mean? Unbelievable. And this man spends our entire like 30-minute Uber ride just informing us about this absolutely insane thing that you can do in Vegas. Anyways, then we get to the airport and we're like, okay, now can we all just chill? Like, please, no one else speak to us.
But of course, I don't pay for TSA pre-check because I refuse to pay the government for an issue that they created. Um And so Kate and Nick are like, peace out. We're going to TSA pre-check. And I'm like, all right, fine. Security was not that long. So like I wasn't worried about it. And we had like an hour. And so I get redirected, which coming up the escalator, I almost fall down the escalator because I'm craning my neck to see this TSA pre-check entrance point. And I'm like, oh, good to know there's like an entrance point down here. And I almost fall down the escalator. And then lo and behold, 10 minutes later, I get randomly redirected like it's elementary school. Someone was the line leader and they're like, okay, you go walk down that way and someone will meet you. You don't know who's going to meet you, but they will meet you. And then they're going to take you to a secondary location. And I'm like, why the fuck are we
Number
going
one
anywhere?
rule is never let them take you to a secondary location, Nicole. That is number one rule being abducted.
I was like, all right, me and this other woman were like, where the fuck are we going? And I was like, no shout, we're going downstairs to the other check-in location. I was like, fucking classic. But that one was so small. I don't know why they moved everyone. And then
Me and Nick were
the
just
pre-check
watching Nicole's dot
dot.
on Find My Friends. Just she just keeps getting further away from us. And we're like, what is happening? And then she
Surprise, I've
doesn't
actually
move.
dumped you guys at the airport.
Just we have coffee. We had a fiasco getting coffee. There's like cold brew drinks on the menu. So I was like, can I have this drink, this cold brew drink? And they're like, we don't have cold brew, only iced coffee. And I was like, okay, and I have an iced coffee. And they're like, actually, we don't have iced coffee. And I was like, what do you have?
Great.
And they're like, we can give you an iced Americano with whatever you want in it. And I was like,
One of the worst coffees I've ever had in
it
my
was so
entire life.
bad.
So I make it through
And we're just sitting
TSA
there with our horrible coffees, just watching Nicole's dot get further and further away.
probably 5.5 minutes before we board. So we weren't waiting around long, but I was like, that was what should have been a very painless and simple experience for me, turned into kind of a whirlwind, chaotic experience because also I'm notorious for picking the wrong line, whether it's in traffic or at the grocery store or at TSA. And of course, I picked the wrong line because I went left instead of right and I couldn't see around the corner. And in my line, they kept putting all of the people who paid for clear
Yeah, it's worse.
in my line. And I'm like, what? Split it up because now I keep having to wait an infinite amount of time. I was like, I don't care, but put some of the people in the other line. I was just being very annoyed. And it was everyone's first day at fucking TSA too. No one knew anything. The poor guy behind me, he gets up to the security lady and she goes, this is not a boarding pass. You have to go back upstairs and check in and get a boarding pass. And I said, woof.
Also,
So at least it wasn't that guy.
unfortunately, to report, it was also my first day flying. Apparently, I did not do well in the security line. I was asleep, and I just kept forgetting to take things off. Like I had a bracelet on, but I also never wear jewelry. Like I do not wear bracelets. But Nick got me this bracelet for our wedding, and so I've been wearing it. Obviously, forgot completely. So I like didn't take it off. So I go through, and they're like, "God, take that off." And so I go back and I take that off. And then I go through again. They're like, you have to empty your pockets. And it was because I had checked. It was stupid. I had checked my bag, which I never do. And I
Yeah.
like had
It's
like
throwing you off your rhythm.
I was like, who's thrown off the Emperor's groove? I threw off my own groove. Like it was because I checked my bag and I've never do that. And so I had like the papers from the that you like peel off. There's no
Mhm.
trash cans around. So I just like shoved it in my pocket and like kept walking because I was like, we're gonna be late. I gotta get out of here. And so we're going and doing that. And so I'm like, I don't have anything in my pockets. And he's like, well, I think you do. And I was like, I don't. And he's like, well, check. So I checked and I was like, it's a fucking piece of paper. And I go, and so I go back and it was just absolutely, I was like, I'm so embarrassed right now. Like I hate myself. I like hate myself and my life and I should probably kill myself right now. I was so embarrassed.
I'm
You
dead. We both
either
had
die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain, and that was me. I became my own personal villain in the TSA pre-check line.
I'm screaming. That's hysterical. I did not know about this.
I just wanna
I
tell
just heard
you.
about the 2 computer situation, and that's it.
Oh, yeah, because who knew I only travel with 2 computers. Ever since we got 2 and a half
Mhm.
computers, I traveled out of the country with 2 computers. Like, I always have my work laptop and my
Yeah.
2.5 laptop because most of the time when I'm traveling, I'm, like, working from wherever I am for,
Right.
like, a day or so, and then, like, I'm on vacation. I always have both laptops. So they,
Right.
like, randomly pull my bag aside, and I'm like, "Oh my god, what now? Like, what now?" Um, and they're like, "You're not allowed to have more than 1 electronic device in a per bag." And I was like, "That's a fake rule. That is
You
a fake."
just made that up.
I was
You
like,
just made
"You
that up.
made that up right now because that's never happened to me before." And they were like, "Yeah, it's because you have 2 laptops here." And I was like, "Where else am I supposed to put it?"
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, I was so mad. I was so annoyed.
So what did they do?
I mean, I guess it was just a slap on the wrist warning. I don't know, I got to keep them. I was like, "What are you gonna do? What are you
Take
gonna
my
do?"
laptop.
So,
I
anyways, got that sorted. I mean, at least I wasn't traveling with a candle again because the last time I traveled with a candle, they said I had a bomb in my bag. Nicole's notorious for picking the wrong line. I'm notorious for, like, having people make up laws when I go through. I'm always getting my bag searched for no reason. And it's, like, always when I'm in a time crunch or, like, have something slightly precarious
Of
in my
course.
bag.
Of
Like, I
course.
was like, "They're gonna open this bag, and it's just gonna be, like, my stripper heels for Vegas and, like, a tripod and, like, the weirdest shit that's ever been put in a bag." Anyway.
Oh, well, we made it. So Nick and I leave Kate at JFK, and we hop on our little plane. Almost a full flight. There's a woman sitting in between us because I have window, Nick has aisle. And there's a woman sitting between us, and her friend is sitting the row in front of us. And the woman in front, like her friend, asks Nick if he will trade with her. Mind you, she has a middle seat. And well, Nick was like, or she asked Nick, like, "Oh, are you with her?" And he was like, "Yeah," to me. And she was like, "Oh, do you want to trade?" And he's like, "No." And so this woman's like sitting in the middle seat, and
Like, "No, I don't want your middle seat."
yeah, I don't want your middle seat. And so then the doors close and there's no one sitting next to her friend. And so she gets up and moves, and Nick and I now have an open seat in
Nice.
between us, which was phenomenal. So Nick's like ready for an espresso martini, and I'm like, you know what? I guess so. Let's go, bitch. And
Nick's
so he
number
gets us
1 travel hack lately is getting the espresso martinis on the airplane ever since Italy.
ever since Italy. He's like, they're really good. And I'm like, all right, perfect. And so we get an espresso martini. We both hit play on theater camp on our little screens at the same time. We're watching a movie together. Nick's schmoozing the flight attendant for free espresso martinis going forward. And it was just a very lovely flight. No issues whatsoever. And so we touched down in Vegas, and we're like, all right, what the fuck are we going to do on our mess round day? We're hungry. So I pay $40 to check in early at the hotel, which we stayed at the Horseshoe, which everyone was like, ooh, off the strip. And I'm like, it was basically on the strip.
No,
Everyone can calm
no,
down.
there's Horseshoe Hotel, which is off the strip, and then there's Horseshoe Hotel and Casino, which is where we were, that's on the strip. Like, Horseshoe, I think, has a different hotel that's not on the strip.
Okay.
Because it was like, they had Horseshoe, and then they took over the Bally's building, so there's 2 of them now,
Okay.
I'm pretty sure.
So we check in, we drop our bags, we hit the casino, we do some betting, we play some roulette, and we're wandering around trying to get the lay of the land and figure out where we can eat. For obviously, if you've ever been to Vegas, everything is astronomically expensive.
Mhm.
all of the restaurants are like sit down bougie restaurants, and we're like, we just like need a snack, like we need something to eat. We've been pounding espresso martinis and haven't had a lick of food other than 2 Biscoff cookies on the airplane. And so we're like, keep getting lost because everything is like weirdly blocked off for the race. And so we're just like, all right, we made our way over to the Aria, which is where the Alfa Romeo event was. And so like, all right, we're at the Aria. Let's figure out food here. We tried to go to the Italy. I got lost. It was so stupid. We almost went to the Rainforest Cafe because we could clearly see it. We were like, should we do it for the bit?
I'm pissed you did.
But no, we went to the food hall in the Aria, which was actually, it was called like Proper Foods or Improper Foods or something. And actually very delightful experience. They had like, it was like a bougier mall food court, and the food was way better and way more expensive. But we were able to sit down and put some sustenance in our body, which is what we needed. Meanwhile, we're getting text messages from poor Kate, who has landed in LA.
I was supposed to have the best day of my life this day. You guys know I've talked about on the podcast that I'm, guys like really into horseback riding lately. Want to go so bad. And so I was supposed to go to LA for like this like fun trip with my team, and we were supposed to do horseback riding at the Hollywood sign and then take a boat ride, like gondola ride, where we were going to eat pizza and like have drinks, and it was going to be like so fun. Land in LA and it's raining. I get texted by my boss and my team being like, it's cold and rainy. Horseback riding's canceled. Boat ride's canceled too. I was like, why am I here?
Perfect.
Like, what am I doing? I'm the last one to arrive in LA, so they're all together. And I was like, okay, well, what are we going to do? And they're like, probably just drink. And I was like, okay, great. So I get to my hotel, get to check in, change, go. Also was in the predicament of Nick and Nicole where I'm just like starving. And I'm like, I need anything in my body. So they're like, come meet us at Erewhon. I was like, okay. So I go to Erewhon, get the Hailey Bieber smoothie and
For $25.
literally, I get a smoothie and a like turkey wrap, and I spent $75. And I was like, I hate it here. And then we just like literally got drunk all day and did karaoke, and then that was it. That was my day. I was just
Yeah, poor
watching Nick
Kate.
and Nicole have fun in Vegas and get a mullet cut, and I was just like, where am I? Supposed to be horseback riding right now.
Nick and I were just bumming around and having so much fun. We sat at Javier's in the Aria for like 2.5 hours before the mullet cutting, because we were like, the team was like, okay, can you show up at 4:30 because it's gonna get kind of crazy. And so we like showed up and touched base, and then we're like, all right, we're gonna go drink. So we went and had $30 margaritas. We're like, we'll just have one. Likely story.
Like a likely story.
And so Nick and I don't know if anyone has watched on our Instagram, but Nick and I had applied to be a part of like F1 cash cab situation, which I feel like I haven't heard anything about that. So like I'm curious about like who got picked for that.
I know.
But we were denied, which
Fake.
can't believe that. So I hope no one ever sees that because I'm rooting for their downfall. But Nick and I decided after a couple of margaritas to do our own F1 trivia.
Which also turns out they reached out to us and they were like, we love you guys. We think you'd be great for this. You should apply.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then okay whatever. Turns out we're not very good at it. Which in our defense, Nick had pulled up kind of an older pre-2007 trivia, which was definitely before our time. And so we didn't do that well on the older stuff. We're kind of fake fans in that sense, but we had a lot of fun. And then we went over to the mullet cutting, and we were talking with Matt for a little bit, and like Matt was kind of running Nick through how this was going to go. We watched Matt give a couple people mullets, which was really fun. And Matt was like, all right, I'll tell you this, like, I am safeguarding you, Nick, from any potential damage. Like, he's like, the guards are going to be on the clippers. Like, I'm going to guide their hands. Like, it's going to be okay. And like, I'll shape you up at the end. Like, don't worry. And so we're like talking to Kara, and she's like, all right. We're like, where do you want Nick? And she's like, I want him here. I'm going to kind of do this whole song and dance. Like, who wants to get a mullet? And then I'm going to magically pick Nick. And we were like, okay. But it turns out that there were so many people at this event. Like, so many people showed up to this event. I could see Matt like getting physically like anxious about it. And he like Nick's kind of standing off to the side, like towards the back. And Matt is like, Nick, come stand up here. Like, come stand up here so I can easily grab you when the time comes. Cause I was like, are they going to let people up here? And he was like, yeah, I think so. And I was like, I'm stressed. Okay. It's going to be chaos. So I'm like, all right. So Nick and I are kind of like standing up at the front, and they guide Bottas and Joe like to this area with Kara. And Kara, like all of this like film crew and stuff kind of like swoop in, like media's in this like 5x5 little square area that has like a couch and a chair in it for people to get their haircuts. And I'm standing on the other side of the couch, and Kara's like, who wants to get a mullet? And Matt's like, that guy does. Nick here.
That guy does for sure.
He's like, right there, that guy right there, he does. And so Nick's like, excuse me, pardon me, I'm coming through, fan getting a mullet here. And so
Man on a mission, man getting a mullet out of the way.
And I, for Nick was ready for his close up. He had so many cameras and so many bright lights in his face. He did so well. I don't think that really anyone who was not prepped for that experience would have handled it in kind of the way that Nick did. I don't think, because it was like very chaotic, and media was like interviewing, so many cameras were shoved in your face. I was like, this is like Nick's paparazzi moment. Like, he
I'm dead.
was the star of the show. But it was really a really fun experience, and I think we'll have to get Nick's side of the story, but just watching him kind of interact with the drivers and like Joe and Bottas and just kind of slinging his jokes, I was like, Nick's in his element.
That is what Nick was made for.
Yeah.
Also, it's like so funny. He's like, Matt was holding his ear down fully to make sure that like he's literally whispering in his ears like, I'm holding your ear down so we don't have like a moment where they're gonna like cut your ear off. The side that Bottas did is like really good, like nice fade into his hair. Joseph was just like like it's like hair, no hair. It's like so funny. He's getting a haircut this Friday, but I think he's just gonna have his like normal barber like clean it up, and he's gonna keep the mullet look, I think. But
Okay.
he was like, I need to like grow this side out because one side's like pretty nice, and the other side is just like not that good. And he's like, and there's nothing Matt could have done about it because it was just like my hair was gone.
Yeah. There is no saving it.
Like the best was that you were like, my phone's about to die. And I'm like, Nicole, the one thing that we're here, like the reason we're here is
no.
And I was like, you have to go live. And you're like, my phone is gonna die. So I finally get a notification like Two Girls One Formula is live on Instagram. So I'm at like this like bougie LA dinner with my team, like drunk. We should not have been going to dinner. We should have been going to like In and Out.
Sleep.
Like there was like no reason for us to be at this like sit down restaurant. Hammered. We're there, and I'm just like, guys, look, it's live. And I'm like showing everyone, and then it just like stops. And I was like, Nicole's phone died. For sure.
It was very funny because I was like, all right, this is probably going to be 15 minutes, 20 minutes tops. And I was like, if I'm live the whole time, that's going to drain my battery so much. But I was like, but I want to be able to get video footage to like use in reels and stuff. And so like I needed both. And Nick had his phone. And so it was like a whole thing. And I was like, all right, it's too late. Things escalated so quickly. we're in panic mode. We're pivoting. Okay. We're pivoting. And the drivers were late. So like the time crunch came down. And so it was like this whole thing. And it was funny because like literally after the drivers left, it emptied out immediately. There was not a soul left in the Aria lobby. And I was talking to Matt and he's like, "Oh, they have me here until 8." He's like, "I'm hoping no one else wants a mullet cut." And I said, "Well, if no one's around, I would really, my bangs do need a little bit of a trim." And he goes, "You want me to trim your bangs? I'll do it." I was like, "Yeah, I really would like a bang trim." And so it
Incredible.
was funny because on the F1 podcast, he was like kind of recounting this. And he was like, "Yeah, you know, some guy was trying to get like a beard trim," which I think he did give that guy a beard trim. And he's like, "Other people were like asking me for different styles." He's like, "You're either getting a mullet or you're not." And I was like, "Well, I didn't get a mullet, but that was special service." So me and Kristen, maybe she can join
I was like, who's
the
Kristen?
musical on the compound
Now that you share a
because
hairdresser.
now that we share a hairdresser,
Okay, I love that for you.
maybe we'll make an exception. Um, and so
Hysterical.
after that, Nick and I were like, all right, we're hungry again. Like, let's go figure out, let's go back to the hotel, figure out what we want to do. And we're like, fuck it, we're going to Paris. So we wander through the Paris casino and we're like, we're kind of obsessed with it here. And so we did some more gambling and then we're like, we're hungry. We had been drinking, but it was pouring rain outside. Once again, two places it shouldn't be
Never.
raining. It was raining. And
That's like
so
classic.
we're like, all right, well, we're hungry enough that we don't want to go to fucking Vanderpump Rules or Gordon Ramsay's or Nobu in here. So, like, we're going to Chick-fil-A.
Love.
So we just get Chick-fil-A and we're like, we're tired. We're going to bed 10:30 p.m. We're like, we had a very rowdy night planned and we really were like, we're 30, we're going to bed.
We're 30, we're going to bed.
And so we put on a movie and like just went to sleep. It
I
was
love that.
incredible.
I love that. I was so jealous I wasn't there that day. Oh my god. Still.
It was really fun. I really wish you and Brittany had been there. It was quite the experience. But thankfully you guys showed up a mere 12 hours later.
Yeah, Brittany and I left LA in our Alfa Romeo. Brand new Alfa Romeo. Brittany picks me up from the hotel I was staying at. So funny. I'm staying out there and they're like, "Are you waiting for an Uber?" And I was like, "No, my friend is picking me up." And they're like, "Oh, like, do you know like what the car is?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's actually like a brand new Alfa Romeo." And they were like, "Okay." And I was like, "Sorry." I just felt like so cool saying that. And then Brittany pulls up in this like bright green Alfa Romeo, hysterical. We go to Starbucks, get some drinks, and then I was like, I'll drive for the first like half of the trip because Brittany had work to do. So we're just driving. I'm driving through LA, like I've done this before. People are there are crazy. It was wild. What's happening here? So we're driving through there. It's like the weirdest route in the United States. We just like went through literally the weirdest places I've ever been. I was like, who lives here? What do you do here? This is the desert. It was bizarre. And then we finally got to Vegas and met up with you guys. And before we even made it to the hotel, we had alcoholic daiquiris. And me and Brittany were ready to go. We were like, this is our time. We are
You guys showed up. Nick and I that morning had gone to the gym. We got lattes and croissants at the Paris hotel fake little boulangerie and did some gambling and then went to the gym and then Kate and Brittany arrived
we were
and
like,
they're like, all right, let's
let's
go, bitch. And
go.
we're like, all right.
Like so much fun. So I mean you and I pretty much immediately had to just like get ready and
Yep.
go
Because
to
we had to be at the MGM Grand at 4 p.m. and Kate and Brittany, you guys showed up at like 12:31.
yeah. So
So
Nicole and I are rapidly getting ready. We're making our way. We have a driver picking us up at 4:30. So we are just like, all right, cool, like let's go. Like we're getting picked up at 4:30. FP2 starts at midnight. We'll be leaving around 2. So we were like, all right, we have 8 hours. Like we're going for 8 hours. We're both wearing
Mhm.
heels. We're like, this is it for us. Like we're doing it. We're going to be there for 8 hours, not knowing we would actually be there for 12 hours. 12 full hours. So we leave, we get it with our car. We're the first people in line for the shuttles to bring you to the paddock. First people in line, the two of us.
To be fair, we were told that shuttle started at 5.
But it was 5:30.
5 no, 6, I
No,
think.
oh no, it was 4:30. We were told it was 4:30. We got
4:30,
picked up at
yes.
4. We were told to start at 4:30, but it was actually 5:30. So
Yeah.
yeah, they were first in line. No one else is there. Finally, like it's getting crowded. People are getting in line, and we go. There's one person in front of us, one singular person in front of us in line. We go. We have our like
Because you had to be shuttled to the
to the
paddock
paddock.
entrance.
So we
And
have
it was
our
both Paddock Club and Paddock
yeah.
Access were the same
Yeah.
entrance.
So we have our VIP passes, which was like so fucking cool. So we have VIP passes and we're like, we're ready to go. In line, they're like, all right, shuttles are here. It's starting. So the people in front of us go and we get outside and the man is like, you don't have paddock tickets.
You're not in the right
You're not in the
place.
right
And
place.
we're
You
like,
don't
"What
have
do you
paddock
mean?"
tickets. And we're like, we have VIP. And he's like, that's not paddock tickets. He's specifically looking for Paddock Club, I think. He has no
Yeah.
idea that there's a
Yeah.
difference. So we were first in line, had to get out of line and go
All
all the
those
way to the
people probably
back.
were like, "Who are these dumb bitches thinking that they can get in the
Stupid
Paddock Club?" And
assholes.
we're like,
Yeah.
"What you don't know is that we're trying to get into the paddock itself, bitch."
Yeah, like what you don't know is we're actually very, very cool. We have VIP passes. We are very important people. Get out of our way. So anyways, we had to go to the back and we were just like, Kara, psych, we can't do anything. So finally she gets it figured out and like that guy was just an idiot. And all the other people, like we just once again we're in the wrong line. We were just like we went to the wrong person because every other
Yeah.
person was like, yeah, you should be here.
Yeah.
Like this is exactly where you're supposed to be. So we get on the shuttle, which was kind of nice because we were with Kara and all the other people in our group and like they were in the
Yeah.
back before. So we were like gonna have to just like stand there and wait for them anyways. So we get to the paddock entrance, go in, are just like walking around. We do like a little tour of the paddock. We see all of the motorhomes. There's a chapel there and like a little casino attached. And we're like, this is fucking amazing. So then we get to do a garage tour, which is very cool.
So
Like
fun.
so sick. So we go in.
One of the highlights of my life, I
I
think.
don't. Oh my god, it was so cool. So we go in, we like see everyone working. They're looking at us like these fucking tours, and I'm just like, I'm so sorry that I'm here. It's
I'm
whenever
so
we
sorry
do
to be
things,
here.
I'm like, this is really cool, but I'm also so sorry. I like don't want to be
I'm
that person that,
I love being here, but again, I know I look like I shouldn't be here and
but
you're
I
judging me,
should.
but I'm actually really enjoying
No, like
this.
I love this. So we do the garage tour. We get to like see all the tires. They're like, don't touch anything, but I did touch a tire. Sorry, Kara. I did put a little finger on it. Um, and then we got to like see the um garage where they were like getting the cars ready and stuff. And they were like, all right, for the pit walk. So we get to like go into the pit lane and do like a little grid walk, which was so fun. Um, and we were walking down Steve Aoki's there. It was just like very cool and very fun. It was the second time that we've been able to do like a pit lane walk, and it's just like it
Mhm.
doesn't get old. Like it is just so
Yeah.
cool and fun. It's chaos, but it's cool
Yeah.
and fun. And I really wished that people weren't like standing guard at all of
The
the pit
the pit
pit
walls. The
walls. Yeah.
pit wall.
Because I
Yeah.
was like, "Oh, I really want a photo of me sitting in front of the Ferrari one again." Like I was
Yeah.
like we did an awesome, it was so cool. But anyway, so we go back, and they're like, all right, what we're gonna do now is you're gonna you guys have like a little time kind of, and we're going to see the drivers and then do
Yeah, we
dinner
had
and then
yeah.
you're gonna have hot laps. And we were like, we're getting hot laps? Because they had told us
Well, we had, and then it was like, you're gonna watch FP. We're gonna have dinner, talk with the drivers, do a meet and greet. FP1, hot laps, dinner.
Yeah. And so it was like, first of all, we get out of the garage door. They're like telling us this. We're like, all right, cool. So they're like, oh, we can like walk down and like see the rest of the paddock. And so they're walking around. They're like showing people things. We're like, we're gonna slip into this casino really quick.
Yeah, no, what happened is we got fitted for our hot
Oh
laps
yes, we
helmets.
got fitted for our hot lap helmets. We're the first ones for finally we picked the right line.
If you couldn't tell, Kate and I were eager beavers.
We're first in line for everything. First to come, last to leave. Everything we do.
First in, last out, baby.
Yeah,
That's
so
it.
we get fitted for our helmets, and everyone else is still in line, and it's like gonna take a bit because there's like a long line. So we go out, we're standing there, we're like, should we just like go see this like chapel that's right across the way? So we go in there, we see the Elvis. They're like, take a photo with Elvis. We're like, okay. So we took a photo with the Elvis in there, and then we go into the little casino. Who do we see immediately but Alex and Rebecca gambling at the little like roulette table or whatever it was. And we're like, okay, this is very cool and fun. Look at us. It's them and it's us. Only people in here.
Yeah, there was like no one really else in there.
It just opened. Like no one was anyone
us.
yet.
It was them, and it was David Coulthard, who was like filming content.
Oh yeah, he was like getting married. Or like he was getting to get married to this other man. And it was us. And we were like, should we get a drink? There's like a bar in there, so we get espresso martinis, which by the way were like the best espresso martinis I've ever had. They were so good. And so we're just like standing there like drinking them, and all of a sudden we see our whole group exiting the garage where they were getting fit for their helmets and like starting to walk away. And we're like, literally had just grabbed our espresso martinis from the man. So we're like, gotta chug these. So it's again, it's us. It's David Coulthard. And it's the Wags, the Ferrari Wags. And me and Nicole are just chugging espresso martinis.
He's like, I can't chug this. And I said, take a knee. Let's go. Down that. Don't waste it. It's too good to be wasted.
So we are literally just slinging these espresso martinis back, chugging them down, and like running out of the casino.
Hold on. You missed.
So yeah, you're right. I did miss a very important thing. So while I'm chugging my espresso martini, because I can't actually chug, so I was just like drinking it really fast. Nicole's already finished hers. I turn around and I see Nicole speaking with Rebecca, as in Rebecca Donaldson, Carlos's girlfriend. And I'm like, stop. So I go over and I was just like, this is unbelievable to me.
So it was just funny because obviously when they started dating, we had talked a little bit about Rebecca on the podcast, and she had messaged us and said that she had seen the video that we've done. So we knew that she knew tangentially who we were.
She had at one point known who we were, and we were like,
she had seen some of our content, and we had been made aware of that. So I just went up to her and I was like, hey, Rebecca, just wanted to say hi. Like, I'm Nicole from Two Girls in Formula. And she's like, oh my God, yeah, like totally recognized you. Like, so nice to finally meet you. And I'm like, don't want to bother you. You seem busy, but like, just want to say, hey, we got to run. Catch you later.
So first of all, she's just like, I know who you are. We're like sick. We just chugged espresso martinis. We got to go.
We were like, we're booked and busy. Actually, we are needed elsewhere right now.
Just so an absolute whirlwind little casino experience for us for 5 minutes in there. But it was actually like, okay, first of all, also before we move on, they're so beautiful. I immediately was like, I can't believe this. Rebecca is stunning. And her Scottish accent's amazing. I was like, just keep talking to me. Like, just keep talking to me. And then Alex was there, and she's so, oh my God. I was like, I thought your skin was like airbrushed in photos. It's not. That's real. That's like actually legitimately what she looks like. And also, Nicole, you said that you were gonna publicly take some things back. And I'll let you take the stage for this.
Kate and I both acknowledged the fact that while we were in the casino, Alex looked like she was kind of joking around and having some fun, and we would like to retract any statements that we said about her being boring.
She actually
This is
looked,
an
like,
apology
so
to her.
fun. She was, like, laughing and joking and, like, talking with Rebecca and the, like, casino
The dealer.
workers, and, like, she just, like, looked really fun. Like, I was like, "Oh my god, I actually feel like I'm feeling a vibe right here that I, like, would wanna hang out with you."
So we're walking it back. We're apologizing. That's all I have to say on that.
So then we leave, we, like, run away, we're like, "All right, time to go talk to the drivers." So we get into this place and there's, like, all these seats set, with, like, signed hats and these signed things, and they're like and we were like, "Oh," I thought it was just gonna be, like, we were gonna be in the motorhome and, like, they were gonna come in and we were gonna, like, mingle for a little bit. No, it's a sit down.
It was a
We're
round table.
we're sitting
It was a
having a
round.
we're having a sit down with the drivers. So no one has sat yet. And I'm like, well, obviously we're sitting right across from them. Obviously. Like I know where they're
Obviously.
sitting and I know where I'm gonna sit. So Nicole and I get in there, we place ourselves immediately just right in front of them. They hadn't been there yet, but their seats were noted. So we're sitting there, we're just waiting. Then they come out and they sat down. I'm mesmerized by Valerie's eyes immediately. I was like, your eyes are so blue. And I'm sitting right across from you. I'm like stressed out about it. So then it's like so awkward for a minute.
It was so awkward.
They're like, "Thanks guys for coming and like meeting with us." But like, no, thank you. Like what it's like so it was so awkward. I was like, there's literally no reason for us to be doing this right now. Like there's like this is just
So
it's an annoying part
let
of
me
your day.
paint
I
the
know it.
scene
Like I
for
know that
you.
this is an annoying part of your day for you.
Yeah. Like, let's paint the scene for you about who is sitting around this table. So it's Kate and I. It's Naya, who, if you listen to our last episode, is singer-songwriter, and her manager, Chelsea. It was Michael, who owns and operates the motoring club out of LA, which he's phenomenal. So you guys should all check that out if you are in LA. And then it was Chop.
Chop.
Chop. And he is a very notorious car dealer in the Las Vegas area. Apparently, he's had a reality show. It is what it is. A very
And
eccentric
it's
guy.
his friend slash he manages
He managed,
this like MMA fighter. So it's also him. And then it's
named
like
Shane,
and then these 3 guys, that are
who are also
also
Alfa Romeo dealers.
dealers, and they had road tripped from Florida to Las Vegas for this. So it's just like an eclectic mix of people at this table. And then there's Joe and Valerie just sitting in front of us, and it's like
And no one knows how to like kind of kick off the
because I'm
conversation
like, am
because
I
like, what are
supposed
we
to be, like,
supposed to be doing?
interviewing you? Like,
Yeah, like, is it a casual
this is
conversation? Do
so
you
weird.
guys? What are we doing here? Yeah, it was
So
completely.
there's
It
like
was
some people are
very.
like, "Oh, hey, blah blah." The guys that drove from Florida were like, "Oh, we met you like at this other race," and they're like, "Oh yeah, we remember you." Like whatever. And then Nicole goes, "You cut her husband's mullet last night."
Yeah, I was like, I'm getting into it. Like, you guys are dominating the conversation, and we have important things to say. I want to set the tone right now. I said, "Oh, you guys cut her husband's mullet
And they
yesterday."
were both first
Opened
of
up
all,
that
they
door.
both straight up were like, "What?" Like I was like, they don't even remember this moment at all. Um, but I was like, "Oh yeah, like last night the mullet activation, like the one the US cut, that was my husband." And they're like, look so scared, like pale. Their faces paled, like
Yeah, they were very
in a
worried.
fantasy book when they're like, I asked this question and his face paled. That's them doing this when I say this. And they're like, what do you think about it? And I was like, no, I really like it. Like, I think it looks great. I was the one that told him to do it. And they were like, oh, okay. And Bottas was like, okay, I was asking him, I was like, do you have a girlfriend or a wife or someone at home that's gonna be mad at me about this? I was like, "No, I really liked it. It looks good. You guys did a great job." And they're like, "Okay, we were like super nervous." I was like, "Don't be nervous. It's fine."
And Nick was saying that he asked, or Matt asked Joe, like, "Oh, have you cut anyone's hair before?" And Joe was like, "Only mine during quarantine." Like, he was like
So
really nervous.
Nick was saying that Joe's hand was literally shaking doing it. Like he was so nervous, like so funny. So we got to talk to them about that a little bit, and then Nicole bring it up.
And then once again, I was like,
We have
we have spoken a big game, and I'm not going to let this opportunity slip by. I said it was kind of a lull in the conversation. I'm like, I'm jumping on this, and I go, Bottas, I have a question for you.
and he was like, yeah.
And I say, obviously, you have, a lot of entrepreneurial spirit. You have a lot of projects going on right now. And so I was just wondering what's one piece of advice that you have for two budding entrepreneurs like ourselves? Because we always say, we'd love to have Botaz on the pod to talk entrepreneur and give us business advice because he's the business king in the F1 paddock. And he was like, he gave us kind of a generic answer, which is fine because those guys are so press trained that I think that they don't know what to say if they're not like prepped on certain talking points. And he was like, just do something that you're passionate about and something that you love to do, and you're going to be really successful. And, it won't really feel like that hard of work. And I think something Kate and I often, joke about is that we do love T2NF and we don't do it because it kind of is something that we felt like we had to do. And so, but it still is work. So that was fun. And then I was like, okay, well, you have obviously have a lot of projects going on. Like, which one's your favorite? And he goes, probably Oath Gin because I get to do it with my girlfriend.
So cute.
And that was really sweet.
And then I was like, when is that going to be in America? I need it. And he was like, not yet. And I was like,
yeah. He's like working on it. So you guys heard it here first. Valtteri Bottas, great guy, great entrepreneur.
Great guy.
Advice: get him on a VC panel immediately.
So then they leave, and we're like, all right. And so we're just like eating dinner. They like gave us dinner, and they're out there still like eating, and Tiffany's there. She's eating. We didn't talk to her.
Tiffany's parents were there.
His parents were there.
Joe's mom was there as well.
Yeah, she was. She was so cute. So we're sitting, we're eating, we're like, let's go back to the fucking little casino over here, get some more drinks. So we go over, we're just drinking espresso martinis. Naya's having her first one. We're playing blackjack. We're just like getting a little drunk. And then it's FP1. And they're like, oh, we're also gonna let you all be in the garage for 10 minutes. Like groups, like there's gonna be like 3 different groups that are going in for 10 minutes each, to like listen on the headphones from the garage while FP1 goes on. And we're like, oh my god, so fun, so cool. So of course it gets red flag.
Once again.
We didn't get to go first this time. Annoying. So it's red flagged, and they're like, you guys can still go in. Like, it's still your turn. Like, maybe the red flag will be over. So go and we get the headphones on. We're staying there. It's literally like they're in the cars in front of us, just like sitting there. And we're just like listening to them ask, like, what's going on? And then it is just like, it's canceled. Like, we're not continuing. So we're like, all right, we got to leave. And then Kara's like, hot laps are canceled. And we're like, no.
We're like, God damn it, not again.
Not again. We're like, this is our only night in the paddock and we don't get to our hot laps. I'm so upset. So we got to keep our like hot lap badge as a as a make good. There it is.
Proving that it was supposed to happen.
Our 1 lap 1. Our
devastating.
Car 10 lap 1.
Yeah.
So sad. So we didn't get to do that. But then it was this weird point in time when no one knew what was happening. It's like, what time do they call it? Like 11? I feel like they're like, it's not happening. We're just like, it's happening now. So it's 11 o'clock. Everyone's like, is it going to happen at midnight again or not? So no one really knows what's happening. So everyone is just kind of like wandering around the paddock. And we are like, all right, we're going back to the casino, gonna get more drinks. We're just like drinking. At this point, we're just like, there's nothing to do.
We're drinking wine at the
Alpha.
motorhome, and we're drinking liquor at the casino.
And we're just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. We're waiting. Nothing's really happening. And then people started to leave. It started to be like other people that were like in like had VIP passes or were just like guests in the paddock were like, I don't know if I'm gonna wait anymore because like we still don't know like if FP is
Mhm.
happening. So people are like, we're leaving, like goodbye. So we're saying goodbye to people, and we're all like, when Nicole and I are looking at each other, like we're staying, right? Like
Obviously.
the girls were staying, like first in, last out. We're like, this is such a once in a lifetime experience here. Like, we're staying until the end. Like, this is such a story. Like, we
They
have,
have to drag us out kicking and
yeah, like
screaming.
we have to stay as long as we can. So we're there. It's dystopian. It's empty. There is like nobody in the paddock anymore at this point. It's like midnight, 12:30, 1 o'clock. Nobody's here. They're playing Wide Open Spaces. It gets to the point where they're sending all of like the paddock club people home and the people in the grandstands home, and like we can't have you here anymore because like the union workers can't work anymore. But we're the only people allowed to stay because we're in the
Mhm.
paddock. Like we're allowed to stay. And so we're like, obviously we're staying. Like we're not leaving. Meanwhile, the people working at Alpha are probably like, I wish these bitches would leave so that we could go. Like they're literally there basically probably for us. Because we were like guests of that. But there are a couple, the guys that drove from Florida were still there too. But
Yeah.
we're there, we're just like drinking wine, we're doing laps, we're taking a turn about the paddock. We're like,
We're drinking
we're like,
wine.
let's just take a walk. So we like would literally just walk from one end to the other, like back and forth, back and forth. We're like, Danny's sitting outside. We're gonna do a little walk by. Charles
Mhm.
is out there. We're doing a little walk. Toto is
Toto.
here.
Yeah.
James Corden is swinging by. We're just
Figuratively and literally.
like literally all of these drivers, like nobody knows what's happening. It was so funny because it was just like it felt like we were at a WeWork. It felt like we were just at like a co-working space where everyone's just like chilling, like hanging out, like nobody had anything to do. Like the drivers were like, we're warmed up, we're ready to go. Like I felt so bad for all the presenters that were just like having to just like talk and just like come up with shit to say.
Yeah.
But all the drivers were just like sitting outside of their motorhomes, just like doing nothing.
Chit-chatting.
Like it was so funny. So we're there, we're just like talking with everyone. And finally they're like, all right, FP2 is starting at 2:30.
2.
2 o'clock.
No, well, 2
Yeah,
o'clock.
2 o'clock.
Well, you missed the part where Alfa Romeo was next to Haas, and so
Oh,
Kate
yeah.
and I were chatting with Gunther for a little bit. Gunther walks by, and we're like, "Hey, Gunther," and he like looks at us like he like had a moment of recognition, but I don't think he could quite place us. And then we were like, "Oh, you were on our podcast for your book tour," and he goes, "Yes, yes, yes. Like, how are you, girls?" And so we were like chatting with him, and we're like, "How are you feeling? Like, what's going on?" He's like, "No one knows what the fuck they're doing. Like, this is very weird." Um, and it was just like a funny moment that I think
We're just chatting with Gunther in the paddock at the Las Vegas Grand Prix. Like, what's going on?
it's just like a silly, goofy kind of a moment in time for us. Yeah, so we're all sitting around and we're like, do you think they're going to call it? And there's rumors. We're seeing some people get text messages that are like, they're saying it's going to happen again at 2. Like, that's a rumor, but like they haven't announced anything yet. And so we're like, all right, well, if it's going to happen at 2, like, we're obviously staying.
Hmm.
And so then we get the announcement that says, all right, FP2 is happening at 2. We're jacked. We're having another espresso. We're like, all right, we're here. We're ready.
Yeah, we're
And
having like legitimate espresso shots at this point too to keep us awake. We're drinking waters, we're drinking espresso shots, we have wine, and we have espresso martinis. So we're like good to go. We're awake.
yeah,
And by the time it's like 2 o'clock, they come up to us and they're like, listen, no one's here anymore. You guys want to come into the garage and just like be in there for this? And we were like, fuck yeah, we do. Fuck yeah, we do. So we go into the garage. I'm like, I gotta go change my shoes. I've been on these heels for 12 hours at this point. Like,
yeah, I did not bring a change of
so
shoes.
I luckily brought Converse. So I go put them on. We're in the garage. And they go, it's not starting until 2:30 now. So we're like just sitting in the garage. Bottas is just sitting on his chair, like, when are we gonna get this show in the road? Like, drivers are like running in and out of the garages. Like, it was so funny. And then we got to watch FP2 with the headphones on, which was so cool.
Mhm. Yeah.
However, I'll say this, and I don't remember if I said this on our podcast before after Vegas, but to all of the like F1 romance novel writers out there, when the female main character, who's like obviously dating the driver at this point, is like, oh, and I love watching the races from the garage, like it's so exciting, it's like the best view of the race. Worst view of the race, you don't see shit. You like see the cars drive by, but like you're just watching on the TV, like you can't see anything. So
Yeah.
I would like to amend those books and say it's actually not the best place to watch the race. It's a very cool place to watch the race, and it's really fun. And like, I get why the girlfriends are in there, because you can like wear the headphones and like hear everything, and like you can watch on TV, so that's cool. But I would say probably the best place to watch is like from the Paddock Club,
Yeah.
or like somewhere like that.
Yeah.
So just a quick piece of
PSA.
info for everyone out there writing a book.
Yeah, Kate was very brave with her change of shoes. She did last the entire FP2 in the garage.
I also had a
I
down
was like,
jacket on. You didn't have a
yeah,
jacket. You were just
I didn't have a jacket because I wasn't expecting to be out until 4 o'clock in the morning. I didn't have a jacket and I didn't have the right shoes. And so I was like, I'm going to go sit at the motorhome with Vince and Kara and like watch the rest of the race on the TV and on the couches outside near the heaters. And so went back there and was just kind of finishing up the last couple of minutes. And we ended up leaving at like 4:45, and they were like, all right, well, the shuttles are no
we've
more,
done it too.
so you guys got to figure out how to get home. And we're like, fantastic. Perfect.
So
We're
basically,
like,
Nicole and I just picked our way. We see our hotel. We said, I see it. It says Horseshoe right there. Fastest way from point A to point B is a straight line. So we're just walking, aimlessly just
we didn't use
walking.
maps, we didn't use anything, we're just like that direction.
We're like, I don't think the maps are gonna know what streets are closed or whatever. So we're just walking. We're walking in these back roads. There's all these signs that say no pedestrians beyond this point, and we're like, I don't care, I'm going this way. Like, we're just walking, so tired. We're like, let us into this fucking hotel. And finally, we like make our way there. We go to bed. So Friday rolls around. We wake up. Nick and Brittany went out on Thursday too. They were in the Alfa Romeo suite at
Mhm.
for FP1. Then they watched
For the whole 10 minutes
yeah.
of it.
They watched 10 minutes of FP1 there, and then they went to the Jack Daniels party, and
Mhm.
then they went to a strip club, and then they went to the Chainsmokers. So they were also out until like 4 a.m. They got back probably 45 minutes before we did. We get back.
Yeah.
Brittany is like starfished on her bed. Lights are on. Both of them are fully clothed and asleep. So we like, get into bed. We all wake up at an ungodly hour the next day.
At like 8:30, 7:30, Nick's like, do you want to go get coffee? And I'm like, I have been asleep for 2 hours.
Yeah, like, no.
Please.
So so we get up. Brittany is unwell. Like, all of us are just like not feeling it. But we are like, we got shit to do today, so we gotta get up. We get up, we get dressed, we head over to the
The win.
win. And because we're like, we are gonna do a little meetup, and then we are podcasting from Blue Wire Studios in the Win. So we get there, we do a little meetup with people. It's cool. I'm wearing sunglasses inside, and like, if you know me, that's crazy because I do not wear sunglasses. Like, I'm like not a sunglass girl. Like, I'll wear them if I like absolutely have to, and like more for like the look. But like, I don't really wear them a lot. I don't like having things in front of my eyes. Like, I don't like
Yeah.
anything impacting my vision. I'm wearing them inside. I'm like, I'm not doing well. Please, no one speak to me. So we do our meetup. It's really fun. We broke someone else's espresso martini virginity. We go to the Brittany's like, I gotta go.
Brittany is like, I have to tap out. I'm so
She's
sorry.
like,
And we're
I
like,
know
that's
you're a
fine.
manager and I should be here for this podcast because you have a guest, but like, I have to leave. And we're like, please go. Like, just go. So we
Which then which then puts Nick in charge of having to be Chloe Stroll's handler.
She's like,
So we're like,
Nick, I'll put you in a. She goes, yeah. So Brittany's like the reason it was like kind of a big deal is that Brittany is the one that's been talking to Chloe Stroll's publicist and manager and like organizing this interview and like setting up like a meet point and like Brittany's supposed to meet Chloe and walk her to the studio so that Chloe knows where she's going. First of all, nobody knows where it is either. We're wandering this hotel looking for the studio. Finally, we find it. We're there. We're with Naya. She's going to be on. And Brittany's like, Nick, I'm going to put you in a group chat with me and Chloe's manager. And you're going to go find her. And Nick's looking at me like, what?
I'm going to kill
Nick's
myself.
like, I am sweaty. I'm hungover. I have not been a part of this. Like, I didn't know I was going to have to do this today. I'm just in like a t-shirt and jeans. So we're like, sorry, like, I don't know what to do.
We're like, saddle up, bitch. Sorry, you're gonna have to
Earn
to
your keep
show up today. I'm sorry.
So we're sitting down, we're recording the podcast with Naya that came out last week. Nick's off. He's like, I'm going 45 minutes early to make sure I get there. He's meeting her at the Earth Cafe. All of a sudden we see Nick. Naya is done. She's like, I'm gonna go now. We're sitting there, we're waiting. And we see Nick roll up with Chloe and her manager. Nick's in a new shirt. He was like, I was nervous. I would think I was sweating. So I like got a new shirt to look a little nicer. So we got a new shirt. And we met Chloe and she's like so nice. It was like the best. She's like, oh my God, like I love your podcast. I was so excited that you reached out. And we're like, no shot you listen to our podcast. That's crazy. Do our interview with her and then wrap up the podcast. And we're like, we gotta go home.
We have to go home.
We're like, we have to
need
get
a
out
nap.
of here. We have to get out of here. There is like, I physically can't be here anymore. So we get back to the hotel. Brittany's asleep again, basically. And we just like melt. We have ticket. We are like on the artist guest list for
Fisher.
Yeah, so we're on the artist list for Hakkasan that night. And we're like, all right, are we gonna rally? Like we're on 2 hours of sleep at this point. So we all lay down, we take little naps, we get up, we're all just like zombies. And we're like, we just need food. I think we need food, and we'll be like, okay. We're just like hyping ourselves up. We're like, we need some food. So we go to this like Italian restaurant across the street from where we're staying. We get like pasta, we're having like some wine. I'm miserable. I like have never felt so ill in my life. I was just like, I can't do this. Like, and by this I meant life. Like I was like, I feel like a dead person. Like
So we're literally at dinner and we're like, all right, team decision. Are we staying in or are we going out? And I could tell everyone didn't want to go, but no one wanted to admit or be the person to admit that they didn't want to go out. And so I was like, all right, I'm gonna make the executive decision. We're not going out. And everyone's like, oh, thank God.
So we're like, we're going back. This is 30. Like, we're going back to the hotel. So we went and we fell asleep at like 9:00. We're like, we have the busiest day tomorrow. Like Saturday was like our big day. It was the Martin Garrix pool party. Like,
Yeah,
and
the biggest day for us.
Like we were like, we have
to get a text message on the car ride from LA to Las Vegas. Kate texts me and says, hot off the press, we're artist guest list.
We're on Martin Garrix's personal guest list for the pool party on Saturday. So we're like, obviously we have to be like ready to go on Saturday. So we go to bed, wake up the next morning. I've never felt better. I was like, I'm a new person. That was the best decision we've ever made and the smartest decision maybe that's ever been made in Vegas in general.
Yeah.
Like that was the best decision in Vegas history.
We went to go get breakfast burritos and then we got our little photo taken for our keychain.
We all the flamingos and the ducks. We like went on a little nature walk. And then we went back and we're like, all right, time to dress up for a pool party. So we're like, all right, here we go. We get dressed. We
go to Marquee.
We head over to Marquee. There's like 97 entrances. No one knows what's going on. The artist's guest list hasn't been sent yet, so they like haven't gotten the list yet. So they're like, we don't have it. We can't let you in yet. So we're like,
because we're pretty early. We're pretty early
classic.
to the show.
We're early. Martin's not going on for a couple hours left. So we're there. We're like, okay, we're in this like family hotel at this point. There are children running around. We're in bikinis. Just like and I'm in the tallest heels that I've ever worn. Like, we don't belong in this
It
hotel.
was definitely a sight. I had to really disassociate because I was like, we look ridiculous. Everyone is staring. And it didn't help the fact that I felt so self-conscious because I genuinely thought that they were not going to let us into the club because we were ugly.
Nicole was convinced we're not even there yet. And Nicole's like, what if they don't let us in because we're too ugly? She's like, I saw it on TikTok. It happened to someone. So we haven't even gotten to the hotel yet. And Nicole's already thinking this. So then they're like, we can't let you in. Like, you're not on the list. But it's because we weren't in the right place. And then they're like, we don't have the artist guest list yet. Brittany's managing the situation, but Nicole is convinced we're not getting in for a prejudicial reason.
I'm like, they think that we're not hot enough to be in there, and especially not hot enough to be on the artist guest list. So like, they're not going to let us in, and I'm like sweating. I'm so stressed.
Yeah, so we get up there, and they're like, "You're not going to be able to wear those friendship bracelets in.
Friendship bracelets.
You can't have anything with like a name or like anything.
Colors. Yeah,
so
I don't.
We had to take our friendship bracelets off. They're like, you have to throw them out. So I go to throw them out. I was like, I can't throw these out. We made these. So I put them on like a table, and I'm like, someone else can find this. And then the guy looks at Nick. Nick's wearing his Furious Motorsport jersey that has Bottas' name on it. And they're like, you can't wear that. And Nick's like, what? So they're like, you can't wear that. Like, you have to turn it inside out. And then they're like, actually, you just have to get rid of it. Like, you can't wear it at all. And Nick's like, I'm wearing like a tank top under this. Like, I'm not doing that. So Nick has to run, and for this second day in a row, has to go buy a new shirt. So he buys like $100 All Saints shirt. Comes back up. We're in. And we're like, Jesus Christ! Like, that was unbelievable. So we get up there. We get some drinks. And we make our way to side stage
At
Martin Garrix pool party. Just absolutely finalizing the bit. The bit has been at this point, y'all.
It was so fun. And we talk a lot of shit about Martin Garrix, but it was a really fun set. And
I
know.
Make a lot of jokes about Martin Garrix.
Yes.
But make a lot of so much fun. Like, I think that was the most fun we had.
I think about it often. I'm like, I can't wait to do it again.
Brittany's getting hit on left and right. It was just like such a fun, like, we're just dancing and drinking and vibing, and Martin's playing, and there's like smoke machines going on. I was like the best. It was so much fun. So we leave there and we're like, all right, we have to walk. We're like, we have to walk back because, like, I don't know why we had to walk back, but we had to walk back. I think we didn't think because it was that far, and the roads were closed because of
we took the tram.
No, we didn't. You and Nick took the tram on Wednesday. I'd never went the tram. No, we went.
Yeah, I don't know why we walked. We had to walk.
So my feet are dead. We're all walking. All of a sudden, we look up, and we're like, "There's a tattoo parlor. Should we go?" And so we go in. We get some tattoos just for fun, and we leave. And I'm like, my feet don't hurt anymore because I got to take a load off for a minute. Walk back. Do we eat dinner that night?
No. We did a quick costume change.
Oh yeah, costume change.
Oh, we got Chick-fil-A. I think we got some Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, we got some Chick-fil-A. Went back to our hotel. We're like, we got to change because it's time for the race. And then we're going to another club after. So we change and we head back to win.
Club, another club, bus, plane. That was us in Vegas.
That was us. We go and we watched the race from
the Win
Sportsbook. It was so fun. And like such a good race, which I think we've already talked about, like the race itself
Yeah.
and how I think it kind of redeemed itself. And it was like one of my favorite races, I think, of the season to actually watch. And then we went to another club and there was like so many people there, like from F1, which was so fun. We like
Yeah.
saw a bunch of friends, met some new friends that are like in the F1 world. And it was so great. And then
Calvin Harris,
Calvin
Diplo,
Harris,
Dom
oh,
Dalla.
everyone's playing. Nicole and Brittany somehow like get inside and get at this table.
Yeah,
So
One of Britney's former flings from the Chainsmokers concert
from 2 days prior.
from 2 days prior has a table at in excess. And so Brittany and I'm like, I'm not gonna let Brittany go alone. So I'm like, all right, we'll be back. Spoiler alert, we were not back. I leave Kate and Nick and go with Brittany, and like we are searching high and low for this table because they have a table in the inner ring, which is very close. And I'll tell you this, I was looking around and I was like, every other table here is packed to the gills with people. There were 5 people at our table. Me, Brittany, Andre, the guy that she had flirting with at the Chainsmokers who invited us to the table, his brother Carlo, and some other guy. And that was the only people at this table, and it was so luxurious because every other table was packed to the gills with people. And like I was like, this is luxury. Like this is an exclusive table, but literally drinking magnum bottles of Dom Perignon and like just like the most expensive tequila you could possibly imagine. I was like, this is something that I will probably never experience again.
So Nick and I are trying to find them because we're like, we gotta find our friends again. So we go to find them, and there's just no way.
To be fair, Kate was like, I can't believe you were still out. She's texting me at like 4:45 and she's like, I can't believe you're still out. And I said, me either, bitch.
So Nick and I get an Uber. We get home. We go up. We're like immediately asleep, and I'm like, I really just hope that you guys are okay because. And also, we like only had one key to the room, and Nick and I had it. So we're like, Nicole was like, leave your phone on loud so I can call you. And I said, go to the front desk and get a new key, bitch. I am not waking up for when you get back. There is no shot. It is again 5 a.m. No. So Nick and I get back to the hotel. We go to sleep. Nicole and Brittany have to walk a mile to get
We
home.
literally we called an Uber at like 5:15. I set my boundary with Brittany and I said, I'm leaving here at 5:15. We ended up leaving, getting an Uber. They still have all of the streets closed after the race. So the guy drops us off like probably a half a mile away. Otherwise, it was going to be a 30-minute reroute detour to go around. And we're like, just drop us off here. It's 5:45 in the morning. So the strip is empty. There are fucking tumbleweeds blowing. It's us and this other couple who was like, yeah, we literally are on the other side of the strip, but like we had to walk because we couldn't get home. And we're just like in our heels. My feet are hurting so bad. I'm in my like we're both in our little mini dresses. And I was like, this is like the walk of shame. There's no one else out. And we make it in, and I have to go to the front desk to get a new key. And the woman was like, "Good morning, checking out." And I said,
I wish.
"No, unfortunately, I just need a new key because it's 6:15 in the morning." Um, and so we go upstairs and the sun is rising and I'm closing the curtains as much as I can to make sure that the light doesn't come in. And guess what time we woke up? 8:30. We said, "We're leaving this godforsaken city and never returning."
Yeah,
And so we get all of our shit together and we pack up the car. We have to do some work because we all have too many bags to fit in this small sports car. And so the Tetris skills were Tetrising. We made it work. And then we drove out of the city to get some Mexican food because we were like, we're hungry and we don't want to pay $9,000 for food. And the food was really good. I was having a coughing fit and almost died. Um, and we get back on the road and like at some point during the trip, Kate and Brittany are like, this is not the way that we remember coming.
I was like,
And
I've
Kate's sitting in
never
the
seen
passenger.
this before.
He's sitting in the passenger seat and we're passing by like all of this traffic, like on a 2-lane road, and the other side is just backed up for miles. And Kate and I are like, hee hee ha ha, sucks to
Sucks to be
suck.
them. We're just shitting on these people, being like, oh, like they're not going anywhere. Like, you guys think you're moving anytime soon? There's like 4 miles of traffic that way, guys. Like, ha.
And so we get to like the end of the road where we're about to get back on the freeway and we
We
see
get
cops.
no, we get emergency alerts on our phone.
Oh,
First,
right.
all four of us at the same time get emergency alerts being like emergency dust storm, like visibility,
Prepare.
prepare for zero visibility. There's a dust storm, highways are closed, and we're like, karma for us is coming.
For
Karma is
us.
coming for us right now.
So we get back to the freeway entrance and like we look to our left and we see the freeway is dead empty and there's cops and like everyone is like at this lookout point, everyone's taking photos and stuff, and we're like, what the fuck is going on? So we look to our right, we see that the freeway is empty. We look to our left and we see that the freeway is backed up as far as the eye can see. Thankfully, the backup is not in the direction we're going, so we're home free, baby. And fumes, we're running on fumes. 30 miles. I'm watching the countdown and we're getting close. We're like a mile, 2 miles out, and he goes, I don't want to stress anyone out, but it says that it's in 0.5 miles, but it's gonna take us 38 minutes. And I'm like, what? I'm like, the speedometer of like the miles now is just dots, it's lines. I don't have a mile count for what we are to empty anymore. I'm like, okay, all right. So we cruise off the exit. It is a dead gridlock because it's the only gas station within like 50 miles. Everyone's stuck on the highway. People are getting out of their cars to go fill up their gas gallons at the gas station and like hike back to their cars. I'm like, we are going to have to push this car to the end. We get to the gas station after like 45 minutes of traffic where we can visibly see the gas station. I'm ready to fist fight people in the parking lot because people are parked at the pumps. Some of the pumps aren't working. The stakes were high. And we were like, we gotta get out of here because we gotta beat the dust storm. We have
And
flights
we have flights tonight, like in a few hours.
we thought we're gonna be fine. We had plans when we're in LA. We're like, we're gonna get back to LA. We're gonna have so much time. Like, it's gonna be great. We're stressed. We're like, should we reschedule our flights? Are we gonna make it? We do make it, thankfully, at the bare minimum. I'm dropping Kate and Nick off at the terminal. They get out of the car. I go to the next terminal. Brittany's like, no, this is just for American Priority. We got to go to the next one. I'm pulling out, and some guy literally gets into a car accident with me in the Alfa Romeo. I'm like, this is the worst ending to this trip. I have literally scratched up this brand new Alfa Romeo that they so graciously let us borrow because some asshole decided to cut me off in the airport drop-off line.
Like,
I was like, I've
it.
never gotten a
We
ticket.
made it to the end.
3 minutes before I was about to be done with this trip. So I'm panicking.
Nicole's texting us. She's sending photos of herself crying. And me and Nick
I'm
are like,
crying.
what's happening?
And I'm like, I need to go home. And that was ultimately the conclusion of the trip, is that I scratched up the Alfa Romeo.
So that was
That was Vegas.
And now we can check that one off our bucket list, and we're all like, we will literally never go back to Vegas again. Probably until next year. But I think moral of the story is that it was a lot of fun. Like, it was like one of my favorite Grand Prix trips we've been on. And it was definitely my favorite Vegas trip I've been on because it was really nice to have like plans and like designated things to do every day while you're there. So you're not just like, I'm in the void. Like, I'm just in Vegas for this extent of time. And like, time is bleeding together. The days are bleeding together. I don't know what day it is. I don't know what time it is. You actually have like plans. So that was really nice. And I think like just going with a group was like just so fun.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna maybe try to record our Sarah J. Maas episodes over like the Christmas holidays so that we can put those out in January before the new Crescent City book. So stay tuned for those. We're like actually gonna sit down and record those. But yeah, for those we're like actually gonna sit down on the podcast
But
at
until
least.
then,
But guys, in the new year, we'll see
we'll
you
see you on
after.
the internet.